Hi, everybody. This is Paul Bryan of UX STRAT. Today I'm talking with Amena Schlaikjer, who is the wellness strategist with The Wellness Works. Hi, Amena. Welcome to the stratosphere.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Well, our topic today is designing the design team's wellness. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I live out in the rice paddies of Vietnam, which is a wonderful lifestyle that supports kind of my ethos around this wellness space. But I travel around the region for work. I have a micro agency called The Wellness Works, and what that means is I help brands and startups alike design solutions around our collective well-being. I really fell in love with this space quite a while ago, around 15 years ago, when I helped launch the What If offices in Shanghai, China, where I was for 15 years prior to this. And I did that because I had a background in startup and launching businesses, but this was kind of my entrance into design thinking and all of that. And just absolutely loved, I think from growing up as a diplomat's kid, the ability to just talk to all kinds of people and figure out what makes them tick. So it was a really exciting time. And, you know, with sort of the trajectory of the exciting growth in China, as it was moving from a made in China manufacturing hub of things into a designed in China exciting place of finding its new identity and designing products for the world, you know, really was a fulfilling experience, but also just like all the excitement of that and the growth at the same time brought a lot of burnout for me and my team. And I started to ask the question, like, what is it about creative beings, you know, creative leaders that make them a little more susceptible to burnout maybe than other people? And that's when I kind of myself went on a deep dive into this sort of wellness space and researched a lot of different frameworks, healing processes, and really tried to figure out how do we design better for our well-being.
Outstanding. And so this personal experience of yours where you were on a very exciting project and doing things that you were really happy about, but it kind of went overboard, I guess, with the stress and with trying to produce that kind of flipped you around to the other side of let me figure out what I need to be doing with myself to enjoy life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the big insight that kind of came out of that, it's not even an insight. It's just the discovery of understanding how a lot of Eastern holistic medicine systems work, which is actually you just need to put the body in the right kind of environment and give it sort of supportive things so that its own mechanisms work properly. And that's kind of my philosophy around wellness, if we were to sort of define it. How do you design the right environments and the supportive products and services to get out of the body's way and just let it kind of function optimally? And so I think from a design perspective, it's important when we're designing stuff to really understand the body. And obviously we all have one. So it's funny that we actually kind of are at the whims of other specialists that fix our bodies when they need help, as opposed to becoming experts ourselves and how we can manage our own health and well-being when it's subpar, right?
Well, what drew my attention to this subject was, first of all, a personal experience about 5 years ago that I had that kind of got me on a different path. But then currently, I'm speaking to a lot of design leaders around the world pretty much every day. And just to hear their stories about how stressed they are and even just being the sensory deprivation of being shut in has caused people to feel like they're not well. And so that's kind of why I reached out to you to kick off the UX Strat conference in a couple of weeks. So what are you going to do there at the conference?
Yeah, super exciting. And thank you for bringing up your perspective on it too. I think designers, UX designers in particular, and this might be my own personal thesis, but we are susceptible to stress in different ways because actually our systems, our brains are wired to interact with the world a little more differently. And there have been studies on this where creative people really take in information differently because of the ways that we perceive our environments and the way our brains function around processing information. It's different than people who might be in sort of analytical process driven jobs where it's kind of a little more linear in our thinking. So think about it like you're straddling on a regular basis various stakeholders, you're kind of straddling the world of business and creative, you're already someone that's quite sensitive to all the different bits of information around you. How do you manage that? And so that's what my talk is going to be about. It's going to be about not only just managing the stress, which actually is kind of the gateway switch to your entire body, your entire system functioning optimally. How do we manage the amount of stress that we take in? Like, how do we design for positive stressors in our life so that we have maybe more 80–90% of rest and digest? Because that's when we're actually processing food, processing information, processing, you know, it's the incubation period where the ideas come out. And, you know, you all probably have that experience of your best ideas happening in the shower, when you're driving, in these sort of incubation periods where you're alone and all that information kind of sinks in. There's actually, it's not just a out of the blue thing. I think that can be conditioned and cultivated. And so that's what the talk is going to be about.
And you're planning to do a companion workshop with that, right?
Yes, yes. So the talk is going to be much more about how we, you know, how we sort of manage, mitigate, and embrace stress in order to be more sensitive beings, so that we can access sort of empathy, openness, intuition, these types of things. And the workshop is going to focus less on the theory and more on the practical tools and how you can do that. In parallel, I also partner with a mind-body performance system called Weightlessness, where we take people through 12 weeks of figuring out how you can just kind of do the drills of alleviating or becoming acquainted with the stress in your system so that you can be more sensitive to all the information coming out around you.
Well, I'm very excited about this. I feel like this is a conversation that we need to have with the design community. So thanks for spending time with me today. And I'm very much looking forward to your presentation and workshop at the end of September.
Thanks a lot, Paul. I'm really excited to have it. And thanks for throwing this for everyone.